suddenly I had this fever that I couldn't move from one side to the bed to the other. Already taking a lot of medication. So I went into a coma. I went into a coma for 3 days. And then when I woke up, I pretty much lost my mind. I couldn't. And my truth is that I am proud of who I am right now. And all I have in my heart is so much passion to help others.
And when you say God saved you and you ended up doing a powerful mind program, that's what saved you.
So nice to have everybody tonight. And I know last week we did not have Girl Talk, Real Talk because it was Thanksgiving in Canada. Hopefully everybody had a great day. I know if you didn't check Dr. Roni's wall, she was surrounded by turkeys on her front lawn. So hopefully you did not take advantage of them to store for next US Thanksgiving. But I just want to say thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. We do these calls every Monday. So tonight we have a special guest, which is Lucy Salinas from Toronto is here this evening. And we're really excited to hear about her story. She has a beautiful story. A little heart-wrenching, but it's also an amazing story of her overcoming so much trials and tribulation when it comes to her health. And I'm fortunate to have got to know her over this last week. So we met each other through Claudia, a mutual friend, and Claudia's here tonight. And when I got to meet Lucy, we could not get off the phone. Like it was supposed to be like a 10-minute call. And every time we talk to each other, it's another hour, an hour and a half later, we're like, okay, I think we've got a connection here, and that resonated to me that we have somebody here that not only understood what it's like to build a connection with women, but also can help people overcome trials and tribulation when it comes to their health. Now, Claudia, you just raised your hand. Do you have a statement to want to make?
Yes, I want you to make sure that before we continue, we check that Facebook live stream, because I don't see it yet, and I also don't see that it says Facebook streaming, which it should. So I want you to go back and try it again, and everybody give Lucy, Dr. Roni, and Gabby a big heart. We like emotions, and I know a lot of people are off camera, so while Gillian puts that on Facebook again, because it's not streaming yet, I want everybody to practice and give us a big heart, just like Gabriela did. Some of you don't have names, so I'll just say thank you to all the guests. Emily's looking for her heart. Thank you, Rosanna, Natalie, and Shaban. Okay, good. Shaban is doing it like this. That you can do that too if your camera is on. Make sure that you're connected. So make sure that you clap. And oh, perfect, Gillian. Let me check for a second before you go on. And make sure you clap and give them hearts and just be active and be present if you can. Okay.
Awesome. Yes, we are now live streaming.
Yay! Yeah, I see it streaming. Yeah, very good. Okay, that looks.
Thank you. Thank you very
much. I
much.
don't see it yet on Facebook, but it's got to be there somewhere. I'll find it now. At least I can see that it is streaming.
It should be in the community right now. It should be. Yeah. Let me double check.
We're in Feel Good, Share Good. Check before you go again.
I'm going to right now.
Into your.
Yes, you are now.
Important. A lot of people. You are.
Thank
okay,
you,
Kawinder. Perfect.
No problem.
You,
this is great. This is
from Costa Rica. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm excited. I see Costa Rica and my heart's still bumping.
I know. That's so cute.
Part of my heart is already there.
Yeah.
I'm going.
I'm just going to share it on Dr. Roni's wall too, so she has that audience as well. So if you have an opportunity to share it onto your wall, do that. It's always great to spread the word and let people know what we're doing. Like today is a great conversation tonight. Like I said, before we went live, I was introducing you to the wonderful Lucy Salinas, who I managed to get to know quite quickly in a very short amount of time. She has a wonderful story. She is actually located in Toronto. She's the mother of two beautiful, I wouldn't say children, because she has a 19-year-old and she has a beautiful daughter, and you got to see her Facebook. She's just stunning. You know, the family is stunning. Where she lives is stunning. Lucy herself is stunning. However, I just want to say overall, she's a beautiful soul. And her story, once she shares that tonight, is really about overcoming trauma and reinventing yourself when you're living a life of lupus. And hopefully Lucy will share what lupus is all about, and Dr. Roni will later on will talk about what she knows about lupus and helping people with her clients with that disease. But the biggest thing that we want to take away from Lucy tonight is that you can overcome trials and tribulations, but you need to sometimes reach out and maybe even reinvent yourself, and that's what Lucy has done. And I'd love for her to show what she's going to be doing in the future with her new courses that she's going to be creating for everybody, to show what she can do to help you overcome those conditions that you may be struggling with. And tonight it's really all about her. And I myself have just been getting to know what it's like to have an autoimmune deficiency or concern in my past. However, the idea of lupus, I'm not quite sure what that is all about. So it's nice to know that Lucy's going to present that to us tonight, but also tell us that there is a solution based on habits that she's learned. And then we're going to have Dr. Roni step in from a medical perspective to give some feedback. And then we're also then going to pull in Gabriela as a mom, as a health and wealth expert, maybe ask some questions that can set the ball rolling so that you can maybe ask some questions to Lucy at the end of our show tonight. Okay, we do these girl talks every week. Every week is a different topic of alternative healing methods, maybe, that we may want to give people an opportunity to learn about. So like next week, we're going to be talking about frequencies. A lot of people are asking about frequencies. So, there's always a great new topic to be discussed, and we all need to learn about these things as we get together. So please share the Girl Talk, Real Talk. You do see Dr. Roni wearing her red glasses. It is about, having a little fun as well. So I appreciate everybody showing up, and I appreciate the audience being so global, so it's nice to have that reach. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the beautiful Lucy, who will let us know about her lupus story. Thank you, Lucy.
Oh my goodness. First of all, this is getting me super excited because first of all, I love talking and I drive my kids crazy talking so much. So now I'm talking with people from all over the world, and oh my God, this is super exciting. So first of all, I'm so honored, and thank you for this opportunity, because this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I've been studying for 14 years of my life, dedicated absolutely my entire being, studying from, I did 2 years of behavior psychology, but I couldn't stop that. I became a fitness expert, health. Pretty much I changed my life many years ago, but the last 14 years since I moved to Canada, it's been just evolving, growing, because I understood pain since a very young age. So I have to go back to my childhood to explain you why lupus. And I have to say that because part of me believes, maybe 90% of my heart believes, that lupus, it comes from traumas. I feel lupus because of trauma. I experienced it on me. I know the doctor said that there is no reason why. They always target 90% of the people diagnosed with lupus are women. And there is pretty much the races can go more in the Black community, in the Black race, and in the Latin, supposedly. What I felt in me, it was traumas from a childhood. I come from I was born and raised in Nicaragua. And what happened is, at the age of 7, it's a communist country, sadly. So what happened is my 2 brothers got killed by the government. And my mom got super sick. Imagine, spiritually, physically. She got a horrible autoimmune disease as well, arthritis. And then my life the trauma started coming up in my life. So it was not only the trauma, I would say, it was a trauma in the whole family. And I was there, and my life completely changed. It was devastated for our whole family. But because of that, I went through a lot of suffering. And then I grew up with a lot of unresolved trauma. A lot of people, I think we all have our story, and most of the people have their story, right? So what happened is I kind of went to the phases to avoid my pain. I was always looking tough. So after this happened, my mom was able really to take care of me and my sister. So I didn't not only lost my two brothers, well, I was the baby in the family, so the spoiled one. And not only I did lost my two brothers in that when I was only 7, but then my mom was not really back since then. My loving and very caring mom, she was devastated. So then I was separated from my sister, and then I was living with different members of my family. And that's how I grew up. So I came up to be a teenager who was always looking tough. I started doing kickboxing, martial arts, and all kinds of stuff, thinking in my mind, oh no, one day when I see the people that killed my brothers, I want to kill it with my own hands. And I have to say this because part of this healing experience, I have to say it was a lot of forgiving for me. I transformed my life because I learned how to bring the peace that I didn't have since I was 7. So I have to mention this because it's very important. And a lot of traumas and unresolved traumas, they become from your spirit, your soul, but there's a lot in your body because we all are connected. Everything is connected. So what happened at the age of 17, I was diagnosed with lupus. I had a horrible fever that it lasted weeks. And my family, I had my uncles they are doctors. And they didn't know much about the disease, but they started taking me to different specialists. And they find out that I had lupus. And that was for me, first of all, I was a very healthy, super healthy kid. Was an athlete. I was in martial arts. I was a runner. And suddenly I had this fever that I couldn't move from one side to the bed to the other. And we didn't know what it was until, they took me to different specialists and they find out. And then my other brother, my middle brother, had a car accident. And he died. And I happened to end up being in the scene. So that was a horrible trauma that I have to witness. And that my body was already weak enough, and I was already taking a lot of medication. So I went into a coma. I went into a coma for 3 days. And then when I woke up, I pretty much lost my mind. I couldn't recognize my mother. I was pretty much like a little baby. I had to have a nurse to bath me, to take care of me, to do everything because I was just like a toddler. And I was in that mindset for about 5 months. So my family decided to send me to the States. That's the reason why I moved to Miami when I was 18, so like a year later. And I came to Miami, and that was the beginning of a disaster. Like, it was just more to it because everything, it was new. I hated it. I didn't like Miami. All I could think it was my mom and my family and my friends, and the ones that was my boyfriend back then, and it was just really hard. It was horrible. I had to be seen. I was pretty much all my week was, fill up. I was going to the Jackson Memorial Hospital, And yeah, almost every day I had to go to the hospital and see specialists. Lupus attacked my kidneys. So I had an infection on both of my kidneys, severe infection. So the doctors decided to put me on chemo, and that lasted 6 months. And I remember the second month, I was living with my sister, and I went to a neighbor to hide. And when she found me, I told her, no, I'm not going. Like, I'm ready to die. I am not going. I'd rather die than going to that chemo. And that's what I'm just so compassionate with people that go through all of this, because I can still remember. Like, I don't think about it because it's so painful, but I can still remember what it's like. And that just breaks my heart. Seeing people suffering from disease, from pain, from trauma, from emotional abuse and physical abuse, everything that I went through, it really touched my heart. And I think one of the things that it really helped me to heal is when I went to Miami and I started taking all of these medications, I was swelling from head to toe. So my face, this face you can see, is only been back like 8 years ago when I get off medication, because I was always swelling. So my face looked really round. You check on my website, you can see the before and after picture. And I say before because I was 19 when that picture was taken, and you could never, ever imagine that woman is me. So I remember telling my sister, you take me to the hospital and you take me to home, and I don't want to see anybody. She was really involved in a church. And I say, I don't want to meet any of your friends. Leave me alone, please. I don't want to leave the house unless I'm going to the hospital. So that's what I did for a while. But she insisted. And I'm so happy that she insisted, because these people from that church help me to feel alive again. I didn't even like to see myself in the mirror. I was this very beautiful girl, a teenage, and then I became somebody that I could recognize in the mirror. I look at myself, I'm like, this is not me. And I hated myself. I pretty much hated myself. I hated my life completely. And I was just in a horrible misery state. And one of the times that I went to get the chemo, my body got in shock, and I went to another coma. And they decided to keep me there for a while. And I remember what happened later on is months passed by, and I remember the third time that I woke up from a coma. I was in the hospital, and the nurses were coming in and getting all the questionnaire, like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to talk to absolutely anybody. The doctors annoying me. I'm like, why is these people asking me how I'm feeling? I am dying. And I was calling my sister every day to say goodbye, because I thought that it was my last time that I'll be able to talk to her. And I'm like, and these people just like ask me, what am I supposed to say? And one day I was in this deep pain. I don't, when the doctor asked me, what pain do you feel? What do you feel? What kind of pain? I'm like, I don't feel like a person. So I cannot describe a pain that is so undescribable. Everything hurts. I am not capable to move. I have to have IVs from like 2 here, 3 here, and a blood transfusion. Like, I can barely talk. Like, why are you even asking me? And I remember that once exactly that day, it was a questionnaire, and then I have to answer all these questions. And then when they left, I remember I closed my eyes, and I got this desperation time. And I talked to God, and I say, listen, we got to make a deal here. I am done. I am done living, and I am done feeling more dead than alive. So just take me. I don't want to live anymore. I'm done. There is no reason for me to be here with this so much pain. So I give you 2 choices. And I was very serious about it. I'm like, we have deals in the past that you're supposed to help me and you didn't listen to me, but today you really need to listen to me because I am ready to go. And I said, you either take me, or if you're going to leave me here, I got to get better because I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I either want to be with you, or I don't want to be here. And from that moment, some people might think that I'm crazy, but I will never lie, especially with something like this. I start feeling a little better and better and better and better. And a few days after, the doctor came and said the chemotherapy was working and that my kidneys were responding. And then I was getting better and better. And then soon later, I told my sister, okay, I'm going to go to that church you keep inviting me. And then these people, it's really emotional for me to say it because love can do so wonderful things. Oh my goodness, love is awesome. And this community just opened their heart to me in a way that I didn't even care that I could barely walk. I remember my sister, the only thing that I'm going to ask you to do for me is make sure that you buy me clothes that it will cover my ankles because they look like frogs. And I always remember this because she started laughing and yeah. And then I started going to the singles groups and I was just, everything changes for me when I open my heart, when I receive the blessings that God wanted me to receive. And when I changed, my heart completely changed. I finally forgave the people that killed my brothers and destroyed my mom's life and my life. And everything changed. And later on in life, one of the things that the doctor told me, it's so important for me to say it, is I don't think I was so traumatized when they say you had lupus. I'm like, okay, whatever that is. But my dream, it was always being a mom. And what the doctors told me that I couldn't have kids because of all the chemo and because my body was so weak, that for me was, I think, was the saddest day of my life. But God has different plans for me, and I have two amazing kids. My son is 19-year-old, my daughter is 13, and now I can assure you that I live my life so passionately that it's hard for people to describe. I'm going to say something funny, but I had to say it. I'm the kind of people that go sit down in the rocks and they stare at the leaves and the water, and then I just mesmerize. Every little thing that people might think that I'm crazy, it means so much to me. And I understood that my life has to be, I have to happen. It has to happen exactly what happened in my life. Because I'm meant to be a light in the darkness. And that's what I am here for. But I'm going to be very honest with you. For many years, lupus was not in my mouth. Once I started recovering little by little, because I changed my life completely, I became obsessed with health and nutrition. And then I decided to become a personal trainer. I went through a lot of phases of working in different things, but I became a personal trainer, and then I specialized in nutrition, and then I did weight loss. And then my last specialization is in women's fitness. I went to study psychology because I wanted to understand people's behavior psychology. So I wanted to understand people and people's mind, and I wanted to understand the mind, the power of the mind. And I can assure you, a lot of healing is here and here. It's not much in like all the medication that I took. Listen, I respect I respect doctors, I respect medications. I know they do help, but in my case, I can assure you it was not the medication that they gave me for lupus that really healed me. First of all, it was God. And yes, I took responsibility of the tools that I was equipped from the moment that I was born. I came with that. I came with that power. And not only me, we all have the same power. It is up to us. What are we going to do? I could easily, potentially become an alcoholic. Oh, I went through so much and so much trauma, and it's just going to destroy my life. Or I could become a drug addict, like all kinds of things. But no, absolutely not. For me, it was just a moment of completely transformation that it took me a while to reclaim my health. And as I said, me talking about lupus is a new thing. It was last year that even though I've been studying everything related with health and nutrition and holistic nutrition, it was only last year that I decided to actually speak about it. My sister kept telling me, you know what, you should talk about it. You could help people. And I wanted to help people. That's the reason why I became so knowledgeable, and I'm so passionate about health and business. But at the same time, I was resistant because I didn't want to go digging to my heart and to my past, that it was so painful, and revive that again. And I have to tell you, last year when I started with this project, I was writing and I was in constant tears for days. I was like, am I going to do this? Is it really, am I capable to do? And I just remember going on my knees to pray, and I said, God, give me the strength, because I don't know if I can do this. It just hurts so much. It hurts so much to go back to that emotional pain. And I said, it took me so many years of fighting and fighting and fighting and rebuilding the strength, and rebuilding the emotional strength, the physical strength. And I'm like, am I ready to do this? But yeah, the boss said, you got to do it. So I listened to whatever he says, and I surrender. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm on it. I can't see myself anymore keeping this. I'm not ashamed of that picture. That if you check on my website, you can see it in my first YouTube channel. When I talk about my story, there's also the picture there, and I'll post it all over, because that picture is the only one that I had when I was sick. And that picture was taken the day that I got baptized, the day that I left the hospital for the last time. And the reason they took it is the reason that I got baptized was because everybody thought that I was going to die. So my friends and my sister, encouraged me to get baptized so I could go to heaven already. But that was not God's plan. So moving forward, what I was talking is, it was just last year that I said, I gotta speak out, and I gotta do something with this. I've been preparing myself with all of this knowledge, but I was afraid to speak. I was ashamed of my pain, pretty much. That's exactly what it was. I was ashamed of my own pain, of my own story, because I don't know. I was like, it took me so long to become. Now, I used to be a bikini model, a fitness model, an actress, a stunt actress. I'm like, wow, this is what I wanted people to see. I don't want people to see the Lucy before. But it was vanity, and I had to become humble, and I had to become real, and I had to become me. And this is a rediscovering myself, and this is Lucy. I am an open book. You can ask me absolutely anything. I will always be honest. I hate lies, so I'm always going to tell you the truth. And my truth is that I am proud of who I am right now, and all I have in my heart is so much passion to help others, and that's exactly what I want my kids to see, what I want my family to see, what I want my friends, what I want absolutely anybody to see, a warrior. That's the name of my business, the Wholeness Warrior.
Wow.
So that's me.
Lucy, you're amazing.
You're amazing too.
Thank you for sharing this story. And it is more traumatic than you share with me already. So I appreciate you being transparent and authentic, and I am glad that you're here, because you do have a calling and you are a warrior. And I am curious to know a little bit more about your journey, and I can't wait to grow alongside you. Okay. So Dr. Roni, you've had the pleasure of hearing Lucy and talk and what she's overcome. So as a doctor, and having treated people with lupus, does that resonate? Does her story resonate to you, Dr. Roni?
Well, thank you so much for that story. What a beautiful story. Very untypical, very sad. Let me start out by saying that your story was so profound. I just don't understand why a lot of people don't understand lupus and why doctors still to this day misdiagnose lupus. I've been treating lupus for many, many years. I started out years ago, maybe 25, 30 years ago, working in one of the best hospitals in the country when lupus was just starting to evolve into the population of people understanding what it is. Lupus is inflammation of your tissues and your joints, and it inflames your kidneys and your heart, and it gives you gut problems with your GI system. So it's a whole body disease. And when you say lupus, I think a lot of people think that it's just connective tissue, or you get skin rashes, or you get this butterfly thing on your face. I don't think people understand the profound illness that it is and how it could present in such a way that you can die almost literally without being diagnosed of lupus. And I lost a very good friend many years ago with lupus because she was diagnosed with a blood infection, where she ended up being diagnosed with the myocarditis, which we're starting to hear a lot about now. But after she died, they diagnosed her with lupus. And I think that was really a sad day for a lot of people, because you don't have to die with lupus if you get diagnosed early. If you get diagnosed late, you're going to have some issues. You're going to have kidney issues. Some people end up on dialysis. Some people end up having heart attacks. And some people get misdiagnosed because you have symptoms that are all over the place. And I would say that, it's an autoimmune condition. It's a very difficult illness to control. But if you get it early and you do a lot of care around your medical program, you see, today it's not just being controlled with the medical medications. You need more than that. You need more than chemo. You need more than, these autoimmune medications that they give you. So the way I've treated, I'm first of all, being a holistic naturopath and a nutritionist, I've been treating lupus for many, many years with whole body medicine. And I understand what you've gone through. It was the cortisol levels that your body's been going through for years and years and years before you got it under control was unbelievable. And that's why you almost died twice, right? Because what happens is your body just shuts down. So we can't underestimate that name, autoimmune. It takes your body and it drives it and drives it and drives it. And the inflammation just starts all over the place. If you keep that one thing in mind, that is a whole body disease, you cannot just treat one thing. You can't just treat the kidneys or treat the heart or treat the joints because you're having joint pains, or treat the eyes. Because a lot of times the people that end up with lupus end up with one particular organ that's in trouble. You're making a mistake if you treat just that, because again, I have to estimate, and I have to continue to say all the time, whole body, mind, spirit. And you had a horrific lifestyle that contribute to the stress, which caused you to have a lot of issues with your lupus. And when you say God saved you and you ended up doing a powerful mind program, that's what saved you. And that's hard for me to get my patients to understand, because they come from a traditional allopathic program before they get to me. And so what I have to do is I have to change the way they feel. And in order to change the way they feel, I have to first get rid of the pain, because it can be very painful when your body's inflamed. Like they'll get inflamed, their joints are inflamed, they got migraine headaches. their heart is racing and they have tremendous amount of anxiety. So now I got to calm all that down before I even introduce the holistic naturopathic remedies. So let's talk about what are some of those naturopathic remedies, okay? Besides the mind body program that I have to engage with them. And a lot of that was music therapy and all kinds of hypnosis therapy. I mean, I can give you like 10 different things for mind spirit programs. But to get to the whole body inflammation, we ended up having to do a lot of immune boosters, and thank goodness for transfer factor now, because that has saved a lot of what we used to do with just five different supplements. We can now do it with just transfer factor. You got to make sure and everything I'm going to tell you is all going to be geared towards inflammation, because you had a lot of inflammation, right? So yes, omega-3s, okay? And when you talk about omega-3, I always try to introduce people first to what's called a PEVI diet. And P means protein, E means essential fats, V means vegetables, and Y means your personal supplements or medications or treatments. But it's personal to you because everyone with lupus is different. There's no such thing as one treatment for all. It's called personalized medicine. So when you said that you designed a program, a nutritional program for yourselves, you were on the right direction. You would have never gotten to that part until you fix your mental and your spiritual. Okay. And I always believe that's first. And thank God for you, because that's always going to be in your mind. And when you help people, you're going to help them with that one thing first, because you can give all the nutritional programs and medication in the world. But if your mind and your spirituality is not in sync with your physical program, it will not work. Mm-hmm. Some of the other things that we tried to do with people, besides fixing their immune system, by getting the inflammation down, there's like over 25 foods that someone with lupus should not eat. There's a lot of foods, guys, that inflames the body. So we had to do nutritional analysis and what we call integrative blood work in order to see where they was lacking in their nutrition. And then we will fix that blood work by giving them some of the nutrients that they were not being used and absorbed and metabolized. Like, you'd be surprised. We talk about vitamin D all the time, how people are low in vitamin D. That's just one thing that people are low in. Remember this one thing. We live in the land of the plenty, but we are starving. We live in the land of the plenty, but we are starving. And how do we know? Because we do blood work and we do nutritional analysis. And that's the only way to tell whether you are getting the good nutrition that you need to even get your immune system up. The other thing is that our guts are messed up. Like, so many people with lupus have what's called hyper or acid reflux, heartburn, we call it. We like to call it heartburn, but it's way more than heartburn. And when you have your gastric system messed up, again, you don't absorb the right nutrients. When you don't absorb, you see the vicious cycle that I'm talking about? You don't absorb the right nutrients. Now your immune system's at an all-time low. So you have to get the right nutrition in the body in order to keep the minerals up, your immune system's up. And we do those things with probiotics and enzymes. So that goes along with the PEVI diet and intermittent fasting. I know we've been hearing that for a long time now, but a lot of people don't understand what that means. And I'm going to put it really simple for you, because there's all types of ways to do intermittent fasting. Some people don't like that word because they think you have to fast for 2 days or you have to fast for 3 days. No, you just have to give your body a rest, right? How long did you fast for?
I fast every day of my life. I fast batch. 2 days a week, I fast for 24 hours. So I do OMED, 1 meal a day. And it's music to my ears. Everything you say, I feel like a doctor right now, because everything you've just been telling me is like everything I've been doing for years.
And look at you. You are absolutely amazing. I hope you're writing a book, because people need to know. There you go. People need to know this. And we're not talking a foreign language here. These are things that we've been hearing about for years, but we just never have one person like you to put it all together and say, here's the whole program, body, mind, and spirit, how to heal your body from lupus, right? So when you go back to that, people are always going to say, well, what should I eat? And so what you would tell them, again, what you will eat depends on who you are as a person. You need to take a look at your nutritional status, right? So getting back to the part about stress, and then I'll tell you a little bit about some of the treatments. Stress, well, my grandmother used to say this. My grandmother died at 100. I always like to talk about my grandmother. I got my red glasses on when I talk about serious stuff. And this is a very serious subject, okay? Because I lost a good friend with lupus. We did not have to lose her. It was simply not being diagnosed correctly, okay? So anyway, getting back to the seriousness of this, we always have to keep in mind that stress creates inflammation. And you already have an inflammatory disease. So if you stress about it all day long, and that's what a lot of people with lupus do, you are actually killing your body. You're actually causing more stress on top of the stress that you already have. And no doctor, allopathic doctors, I don't know if they're starting this, but I know naturopaths and holistic doctors talk about it all the time. But we all have to come together as a community of doctors talking the same language, because if you don't talk to the patient about the very thing that's killing them, then what's going on in our world today? And stress kills. My grandmother, who had a 3rd grade education, would say to me, stress kills. I had to go to school to learn out what she was talking about. But you don't have to go to school to learn about what I'm talking about, because there's something called cortisol levels. There's something called CRP levels. All you do is you tell your doctor, I'm under a lot of stress, test my cortisol, test my CRP. Let me know how inflamed I am, so that I can go on an anti-inflammatory diet, so that I can live an anti-inflamed life, so that I can heal my organs. Tell me what foods are hurting my kidneys. There's a lot of foods that hurt your kidneys. They don't even talk about what foods hurt our kidneys. All right. So we need to understand those foods that hurt our kidney and those herbs that heal our kidney. So getting back to intermittent fasting, and why I'm so passionate about that is that when you give your body the good nutrition that it needs, now you need for your body to heal. You know why your body needs to heal? It cannot heal if you're eating all day long. Guys, trust me on that. Your body cannot heal if you're constantly feeding it food all day.
Yes, it can.
There'll be a period of time where you're not eating, like maybe 8 hours. What I would do, 10 hours of not eating. And it is that time of the day when my body's going to healing, because I'm giving it enough nutrition that it needs during the other time. So there's different ways of doing the intermittent fasting. The other thing is you have to be able to process the right foods.
It's absolutely true, because in my case,
Whatever.
I think we have a interruption.
Whatever.
I think we have a interruption in here. Somebody's
Hey, Lucy.
I think somebody's bored.
Not let Brian in, Gillian, please. It's okay. He's been put in timeout in the waiting room. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Gillian, can you try and mute everybody for me, please?
I am trying, yeah, just doing that right now.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, Dr. Roni, we got Gabby. You can pass it on to Gabby while Gillian and I can.
So Gabriela, if you're able to give feedback now from a mom's perspective, because lupus is not something we think about our kids getting. You know, I don't know about you, but that's something that would worry me as a mother.
Yes, absolutely.
Lucy, thank you for sharing your story. It's inspiring and very informative. You know, it sounds like lupus has affected you for a very long time, and you know, if anything, what we do as a mother or father, and let's say we're diagnosed with something, we dive into our own research, find out, we seek doctors like Dr. Roni, someone that isn't just going to give us drugs to fix the problem. Not to temporarily fix the problem with drugs. We want something to fix us completely. And that's the way I would do it. You search for answers, and yes, you definitely want to listen to your doctors. But I'm the kind of person that I will look for answers elsewhere if it means I have to take this drug for the rest of my life. And
I'm so happy you just said that, because one of the scariest time when I decided, no, this is not going to happen, it was when the doctor told me that I have to be on prednisone, which is a cortisone. The doctor knows what I'm talking about. She told me, you have to stay with this medication for the rest of your life. And that for me, no. I immediately in my head was trying to be nice. And I said, no, I won't. No, I won't. And I try to take off I try to stop the medication like cold turkey a couple of times, didn't work for me, but I actually start reducing very strategically and pay with a lot of patience. I start taking smaller doses by myself. I'm not telling anybody to do this, but I'm just saying with my honest what I did until it was only I was taking at some point 40 milligrams. So then I get to 2.5 every other day, 2.5 once a week, until I completely, cut it off. But it was with a lot of patience and a lot of faith. Mm-hmm. And I say this word that I have not said, because faith, if you don't have faith, let me know, because I'll give you some of mine. I have tons. And I have to own this amount of faith that in the middle of the store, I'm like, hey, we can deal with it. Because I've been through, if there is a hell on earth, I've been there. And I can assure you, if you only need a little bit, but you need to stick around with that little bit of faith. And what she said about, yes, I am the kind of person, I love research. I love reading. I am the one that we go, anything that the doctors tell me, especially about health, I go do my research. And I don't just go Google. No, I go to do a deep research because I need to know the root of the cause. I don't like the masking thing. It's like right now, my daughter started having some allergies, and I'm investigating what is happening in her body. But it's been a lot of trauma in her body. She has a spine surgery just 5 months ago. So that changed a lot of her body. So she'd been through a physical and emotional trauma, let's say. But I am the kind of person that I need to know the root. I need to know why my body's feeling this way. What nowadays I am like that. And with my kids, I am the same. So if you want to be addicted to pills and then masking the pain, and it's a cycle, as the doctor said, because at some point I was taking 36 pills a day because of this and because of that. What do you think I have to see being seen by 5 specialists? Sometimes I have like 3 appointments in one day. Dermatologists, nephrologists, all kinds of doctors, like name it. And yeah, and it was just pills and pills and pills and pills and pills. And it was awful. It was just, you feel hopeless, completely hopeless. You feel that you're like in a hamster wheel, just living every day the same way, taking the same pills, having all of this a schedule of what time you have to take the next one, and this one is for this and this one is for that, and feeling your gut health completely destroyed. And that is so important that you mention a doctor, because especially with people that are taking a lot of medication, your gut is completely destroyed. I was in a lot of stomach pain constantly because all of the medication I was taking, the side effects were killing me everywhere. So it is important to say, and the prebiotics and the probiotics are essentially for somebody, especially for somebody who's dealing with taking a lot of medication. So absolutely, I 100% agree with you. That's what I'm saying. Everything that you're saying to me, even though I didn't really hire a holistic doctor, I became my own holistic doctor. Well, I study a lot from mind, health, nutrition, spirit, all kinds of things. But I'm so grateful for the insight that you're giving us, because you put it in a fancy words that I couldn't say.
Well, I am curious. I know I was looking up lupus, but what kind of tests would you recommend that you basically were diagnosed with, if you have any insight on that? Because I know lupus can mimic fibromyalgia and other conditions, or maybe just like you're just tired and you just have this rash. And so do you recommend, like, how did you get diagnosed with it?
There is a specific exam. There's one called ANA. The doctor can tell you about. There's another one quite intense. It's a new version. It's called Advice. That is pretty much going and check on the protein in your body. But I'll say a really good doctor will go, as the doctor said, it will go and check the inflammation. Because again, what you just said is truth. Lupus is, they call it the imitator, because it can imitate. People might think they have arthritis, because yes, it gives you, because of the inflammation again. So, you're pretty much you are constant pain. So it can mimic all kinds of disease, and it can go, yes, in my case with my kidneys, and you can say that I have a kidney disease, but it's lupus because it was not only my kidneys, it was also my brain. It was not only physical, but it was neurological problem. So there is a specific test that they do, but there is pretty much, I think it has to be a team of doctors working together to determine if you have lupus or not. And it's a process. It's not like one day thing. You have to go through several testing, and a holistic doctor will know faster than an actual doctor. And Dr. Roni will agree with me on that.
You're right. And so maybe Dr. Roni can explain what test she would recommend if we have time here.
Yeah.
I know we're.
Yeah, I think, one of the things why it's been misdiagnosed a lot is because there's so many different tests, like, the test that she just mentioned. Besides those specific tests, the inflammatory markers like the ESR and, the ANA, and then you have the CRP, and, there's so many, and there's the SED rate, and, but those are your blood tests. But I think the other part is that you have to say, because a lot of things mimic those, right? Autoimmune, a lot of autoimmune. There's so many autoimmune conditions today that they can't diagnose it. They say it's autoimmune. And then all those parameters will be high. But I think the other thing is that you have to test the person's kidney. You got to look at the person's, you got to do MRIs, you got to do CAT scans, you have to do so much in order to come up with that diagnosis. And then also at the same time, without those scans and the blood work, you got to look at really good the symptomatology. And a lot of times when you give somebody prednisone, it masks the problem. It masks the diagnosis. So you can't give them prednisone until the right time, because a lot of people have been misdiagnosed with lupus only because they were treated so early in the game that it ended up not being the particular autoimmune that they thought it was, and it ended up being lupus. And also, she's right about the genetics part. A lot of African Americans are more prone to get it. I think the age range is young. The age range starts in the teens and the 30s. I think in the 30s is one of the highest where you start looking at lupus. So you're not looking at lupus in the elderly population. So it's a tough diagnosis. And I think that's what's been so hard with lupus and why people end up with the late stage lupus.
Wow. Well, what about, do food allergies play a part in lupus, or is it just basically something that just happens?
No, it depends on your immune system. You got to remember, because it's autoimmune, a lot of times you're absolutely right. People will have mast cell situations going on where you think that it's just mast cell disease, where it ends up being part of lupus. So the symptomatology could be all over the place. And that's why, again, it's so hard to diagnose. So yes, that person can present with allergies. Many people can present with allergies with any particular autoimmune condition. Whenever you're dealing with immunity, and that's why, immunity is my next big subject with my next book, because immunity is so important to understand, because a lot of people don't understand it's a vicious cycle that you get into when you have low immune. Anything jump, you are a candidate for just about any disease to jump on board. So it's very important to take care of your immune system. And that's one of the reasons why I chose For Life, because you have to remember that company is all about the immune system. And I believe that most chronic illnesses are exacerbated because you have an immune issue.
All right. Okay, so I'm just going to got like a couple minutes left, and I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Lucy again for tonight. I think we would be talking for hours on this topic. It's something that I was not quite aware of. Lupus, you hear about it, you see the butterfly symbol, but you're not quite sure what the reasoning as to why it's so potentially could be very detrimental and dangerous. So Lucy, your story needs to be told, and your story needs to be shared. So I think I implore you to keep on telling your story. I can't wait for you to get your course up and running. I think you should be writing a book. I think you need to be more vocal on social media. I'm going to be behind you to make sure that happens. And I would just like to make everybody be aware of her website, so please follow her. How can they follow you, Lucy? What is the best way to follow you right now?
So I have a series of about 6 videos right now on YouTube, and the main reason is this: educating and bringing awareness to some, like you and many people are not really. Sometimes I run into people and I say lupus and people don't understand what it is. So they can find me. There is a series of videos just to explain a little, kind of like breaking down what I was discussing with Dr. Roni, and as well talking about stress and how can we manage our stress and our minds and our thoughts, and all link. Also my website, because that is where I'm going to be offering my upcoming course or program, whatever you want to call it. And I'm making something that I am putting completely my mind, my heart, my soul, everything is going to be there. I'm extremely passionate about it, and I cannot wait to help as much as people possible, because that is a mission that I'm not giving up ever.
Perfect. And we'll make sure we share those links and the how to get in touch with you inside our Feel Good, Share Good community. For those that are watching and all the other shared platforms right now, we do this every week, and you can, if you would like to join our Feel Good, Share Good community, it is a place where we can share positive vibes, but also have a discussion about alternative ways of healing. So please make sure you come by, join us. We are going to be doing this weekly. Today was all about Lucy and a lupus story, but every week, and when they're available, Dr. Roni and Gabriela will be stepping in to help be our guest speakers. And next week, we are going to be featuring Denise Dular, whose birthday is today. So if you know her, wish her happy birthday. Unfortunately, she couldn't be on the call tonight, but she's going to be talking about frequencies and the power of frequencies and how they can heal. And I know this for a fact because I went to Dr. Roni's retreat in Martha's Vineyard, and I played a lot on the Rife machine that was there. So I really enjoyed that. So there is something different to be said about different ways of healing, and we need a platform to share that. So thank you again, Lucy, for tonight. Are there any questions, Claudia, from the chat box or anything that we can? Nope. And again, so please reach out to us on inside the community if you have any questions. I know there's if you got an idea or maybe a topic of discussion, please share with us. I know Dr. Rosanna Holt mentioned that she'd love to hear more about fasting. So that might be an upcoming topic of discussion, because we might want to find out the real reason as to why we should be fasting and what is the right way to fast. So that would be a good topic. Thank you for bringing that up. If you're a man on this call, you're welcome. We're just, girls like to chat a lot. So, and right now being healthy is a main important thing for us. So this is the reason why we do these calls. So thank you for Dr. Roni. Thank you, Gabriela, for showing up tonight. Give big round of applause though for everybody. For Lucy, it'd be really great for you to share and celebrate her, follow her on YouTube, follow her on social media. If you know of anybody struggling with lupus or anybody that needs a good trainer in Toronto, you know, Lucy's there and she's amazing. Love her already. And I can't wait to learn more from everybody.
Oh,
Have a great night, everybody. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
great. Oh,
Just
Lucy,
bye.
best.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.